This is Walter Field for the North Star Report. We're sitting here with Governor Jon Corzine of New Jersey, who just finished addressing the Civic Group here in Irvington, New Jersey, on issues affecting the African-American community. Governor, good morning.
Good morning.
You know, last night the Senate amended President Obama's economic recovery package and did great harm to states. Could you give us your reaction?
Well, if I would use terms different than great harm, they took a meat axe to what in Washington they call a fiscal stabilization piece. $40 billion of the $80 billion that they cut in spending came right out of help for the states to maintain services. We're either left with a choice of raising taxes or cutting services, given that states have to balance their budgets. We have constitutional requirements, and everybody's budget is declining dramatically in revenues in. And so we're all very frustrated, governors. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be on a conference call with six, Deval Patrick and Governor Patterson in New York and Ted Strickland in Ohio and several others to try to push back against the cuts that went through in the Senate bill.
Now, I know you're pressed for time, but yesterday, the Bureau of Labor Statistics released the January employment situation summary, devastating in terms of unemployment, particularly in terms of the African-American community, 12.6% for blacks and 36.5% for black teenagers. What do you see are possibilities under the current economic climate to really begin to address some of these issues?
Well, I think the relief and recovery program that President Obama is putting forward can help arrest this slide in economic weakness and will restart the economy over a period of time. It's not going to be like a light switch. If we get the recovery program, I think by 9 months, 12 months, you'll see movement back in the other direction with regard to economic growth, and then employment will follow. If we don't do this, and if we don't restore some of the cuts that actually came through in the Senate proposal, I think you could see some economic weakness and continuing substantial growth in unemployment. The president says we're in a crisis, and if we don't act, we're going to create a catastrophe. And I think that he's analyzed the problem correctly, and what we need to do is get moving on this stimulus program, and we need to make sure that we're actually putting it into the right buckets which create jobs. And I think the president has made those kinds of proposals, and it's time for all of us to stand up and fight like crazy to make sure that his proposals are passed through Congress.
Well, Governor, we know you have a busy schedule. We thank you for spending a few minutes with us. This is Walter Fields for NorthstarNews.com, and we've been sitting here with Governor Jon Corzine of New Jersey.